Welcome to advisement for in preparation for fall of 2017. I'm just going to go through our Prezi here and talk about some things that you're going to need to know to finish up this semester and to move forward to the fall semester. All right, so it's a good time to ask yourself, how is this semester going? How are my classes? How am I doing in my classes? If you are feeling like you might need to resign from a class, April 21st is the last day to resign. If after April 21st you need to take whatever grade you earn in the class. Keeping in mind, of course, that some classes are what we call controlled enrollment, and they need to be repeated in the summertime. So things like Chem 101, not on this list is English 105. Also Psych 207, or if you're in Psych 101. If you are thinking that you want to resign from one of your science classes, please meet with an advisor just so that you understand whether or not you're going to be off track for applying next spring of 2018. As far as controlled enrollment classes, we have a rule that you can actually get a seat in the class if there's any available the week before school starts. So that would be towards the end of August. The only thing that doesn't apply to is the UB seminar. UB seminars must be repeated in the summer or the winter if you received a failing grade. If you received an A through a D, you are not allowed to repeat that course. You need to just stick with the grade that you have. If you have any questions about resigning, definitely see an advisor. To resign from the class, it's actually just dropping a class. At this point in the semester, it shows up on your record as an R. So you can register for summer classes now. So if you were thinking about taking a summer class at UB, you can go ahead and do that. You might want to check with financial aid about how your classes could get paid for. And always double check the dates of the class you're registering for. There are 2 summer sessions. So some will start in May and some will start in July. If you decide you want to take a class at another institution, so someplace maybe closer to home over the summer, you're going to need to make sure that that class is considered equivalent in Taurus. And there's the address for taurus.buffalo.edu. And you can go in and take a look and see if the courses are equivalent. There are instructions on how to do it there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us and say, hey, is this class equivalent to that class? We'll be happy to answer that question. All right, thinking ahead towards the fall. So if you are started as a freshman in this fall of 2016, you're a freshman this semester, using our new general education requirements, you can see that sophomore year fall semester here. You should be thinking about taking Micro 301 and PG by 412. If you're not taking PG by 300 this semester, we do have some alternative plans for you, so we'll talk about that in a minute. You can take any remaining additional prerequisite courses this semester, and you should definitely be taking a global pathway. If you haven't selected your global pathways yet, you're going to want to do that too. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but you can see where you are on the 4-year plan. If you are a transfer student, your schedule might look a little bit different than this, and you can talk with an advisor about that. And we still have some students that are operating under the old general education classes, so you want to definitely talk with an advisor to see what courses you still need and what substitutions there are for those courses. All right, the School of Nursing prerequisites: chemistry, Chem 121, 111, and 101 will accept any of those 3. Human anatomy, human physiology, pharmacology, microbiology, applied pathophysiology. Human nutrition, human growth and development, a statistics course. We're encouraging you to take NSG 295. For that, American pluralism, Social 101 is what we're accepting for freshmen and some transfers. If you are under the previous gen ed, then talk to an advisor about what's a substitute class for that. Medical ethics and Psych 101. If you are not pursuing the traditional path, you're thinking about the ABS path, which is Accelerated Bachelor's in Nursing, you are not required to take the American Pluralism, the Medical Ethics, or the General Psych requirement. And that's because students pursuing ABS have a previous bachelor's degree, or will have a previous bachelor's degree at the start of the program. Remember, you have to achieve a C or better in each course for it to count as your prereq. If you're thinking about taking a class someplace else, again, double check in Taurus to make sure that the class you want to take is an equivalent course. Remember that even though we require a C in each class, if you got a C in every prerequisite, you'd only have a 2.0 GPA, and you need a minimum of a 3.0 to apply to the program. So you need to be getting as many A's and B's as possible in your classes. Here is if you're not able to take PGY 412 in the fall, what are you going to do? So you can take a look. We have several options here, and I'm actually providing an option sheet for you on the table there. You could look for a PGY 300 equivalent course at another college if it's available. They're hard to find. And then you would just take PGY 412 in the fall along with micro in a typical spring schedule. Option 2 would be to not take a course in the summer, take PGY 300 in the fall, and then you would take an equivalent course to PGY 412 at another institution in the spring. Erie County Community College offers an equivalent course that's online. Sometimes students will decide to cross-register for this course at ECC. The plus with cross-registration is that your UB tuition will pay your ECC tuition, not the fees, but the tuition, which is great. But the downside is that you can't actually register for the ECC class until the week classes start at ECC. So you can't be guaranteed a spot if you cross-register. So some students will decide to pay out of pocket and will register for that class in November. And then option 3, if you took Chem 111 or 101, is to take PGY 451 in the fall and 452 in the spring. These are accepted as equivalent to PGY 300 and PGY 412. Some students do say that this is a more difficult path. So those are your 3 options if you are off sequence for taking PGY 412 in the fall. Okay, so let's look forward to the spring of 2018 and applying to the program. For the traditional Bachelor's in Nursing program, you need to have a minimum of a 3.0 cumulative and prereq GPA and have all 12 of your prereqs either completed or in progress, which means you most likely you'll be taking pharm and statistics, maybe something else in the spring. The application opens in early January, January 4th, and the deadline for completion is February 15th, and you can find the link to that application on our website. Right now, I'm just going to tell you that it's not up, but it will open on January 4th. You'll be able to take a look at it then. And you have about 6 weeks to complete your essay portion of your application. You'll find out in mid to late March if you've been accepted, and if you have been, then you'll start in the program the following fall, and it's 2 more years of nursing coursework and clinicals. Our program is very competitive. We have typically between 130 and 150 qualified applicants for 72 spots. And that's the number of seats that we have in clinicals. That number is not going to change. The average cumulative GPA of admitted student this year and prereq GPA was a 3.6. Some students are going to be thinking about the accelerated program, and some students actually will be using this as their backup plan. For the accelerated, you have to have a bachelor's degree prior to the program start date. Minimum of a 3.0 cum and prereq GPA, and you have to have 4 prereqs done at the time of application. The application is due October 1st, so you have to have 4 done and be able to complete the remaining 5. Remember, ABS only have 9 prerequisites. You have to be able to complete the remaining 5 by the time the program starts. If you are a senior and you're applying, you would also have to earn your bachelor's degree by May. These students will find out in mid-December if they've been accepted to the program, and they start their program the following May, and it's 1 full year, 2 summer sessions, a fall and a spring, then they graduate. The accelerated program is also competitive, 120 to 135 qualified applicants for 56 spots. And the average CUM is a little bit lower, 3.5, and the average prereq is higher, 3.7. So we're looking at your CUM and your prereq GPA, as well as several short answer essay questions. There are between 5 and 7 questions every year that students are asked to answer through our application. And in order to do this, students should be able to articulate their experience related to nursing, their understanding of the role of the nurse, and why they wish to enter into the field of nursing, and be able to give examples of experiences and reasons why. So what are some tips? We want you to be able to draw on your experiences. So some students might work part-time in a healthcare setting as a certified nurse assistant or a personal care aide. And you can get training for that at a lot of nursing homes and some hospitals. Some students will shadow a nurse, which is becoming increasingly more difficult to find those opportunities. Some students will volunteer at a hospital or a nursing home. You can just call the hospital or nursing home and ask to speak to their volunteer coordinator. We also are interested in students that have leadership experiences. This doesn't have to be nursing related. This could be something here at the university or something in your home community. So you might be wanting to think about how you could develop some of those experiences. Because our program is so competitive and we know we have a limited number of spots, we also suggest to all our students that they have a backup plan. You need to take some time this summer, be a great time to ask yourself, what might I do if I wasn't accepted into UB Nursing? Some students will select a backup major, and some will apply to other nursing schools, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Okay, so I'm registered for classes. I understand the application process. Is there anything else I need to do to create a backup plan? What are some options? Okay, so applying to other nursing programs. This increases your odds of being accepted to a nursing program. So students that know for a fact that they really want to be a nurse might want to spend some time this summer looking at other programs, maybe identifying 3 to 5 other schools. We have a list of other schools on your UB Learns course. Different schools have different prerequisite courses, so you might find that you need to take an additional course. Some have different application times from ours. Some have different application requirements, so you're going to want to do some research on the web, as well as speak with an advisor from these other schools. They can answer your questions about their specific programs. Some students will apply to the program, and if they're not accepted, their plan is to reapply the following year. So in order to do this, you will need to select a backup major. And then you would take some courses in that major, and maybe you need a higher GPA, so you might repeat a course, or maybe you need some more robust experience, and you would follow up with that. You should always speak with an advisor to see if reapplying is actually a realistic option. And please note there could be some negative financial implications for repeating courses or adding an additional year of study. So you should always check with financial aid for those things. Some students will actually pick a major and realize they really like the major that they've selected. So we have some majors that are an easy switch from nursing, like social science, interdisciplinary, health and human service, and psychology. Those are both advised through the College of Arts and Science Advising Office. But some students maybe are interested in something else in the healthcare field, or a career that perhaps is a better fit for them. I'm going to strongly suggest you head to the Career Service Office. They can help you identify a good career and then back into an appropriate major for that career. Some students will consider other health science majors, like I said before, psych, but exercise science, anthropology, speech and hearing sciences, social science, interdisciplinary health, or human service. And some of the health science majors, like exercise science, physical therapy, occupational therapy, also have very high GPA requirements. So you'll want to make sure you do your research before selecting a backup major for sure. Some students will consider the ABS program. So they'll select another major. They will complete that degree. They can apply to the ABS program during the fall of the senior year, and then they would start literally right after graduation. This is not a guarantee. It's another option, and this is also a very competitive program. So some additional things for you to consider. Are you off sequence in any way? Have you needed to repeat any classes because you received lower than a C grade? Have you chosen to repeat classes to improve your grades? Do you currently have more than 60 earned credits in Hub? If you answer yes to any of these, you really need to make sure you have a solid plan to complete your prereqs and a solid backup plan. So you should meet with a nursing advisor to develop that plan, and you should definitely contact financial aid about how your aid might be impacted by your plan. Okay, so one last thing, don't forget the pathways. So we're actually going to take a look at that. If you haven't done your pathways yet, haven't selected them, you can search UB Pathfinder tool, and it's the first one. You click on that. You're going to click on this green bar that says Visit the Pathfinder. For you, you're going to sign in, and it's actually going to show you your individual courses. So if you are transferring in any classes, yours are going to show individually. There's a video tutorial you can watch, but if you want, you can skip the tutorial. I've actually selected some pathways here, but I'm going to clear these and show you what you might want to do, how this works. So the first thing you're going to do is select your thematic pathway. We have a pathway that's already a simple one for nursing students. If you look at the sheet on the table in front of you, you can see what courses are offered and what might make sense for you to take pathways-wise in the fall. So for thematic, if you choose Health, Medicine, and Society, you're going to pick 3 classes. You're going to pick one from each list, and you're going to try to hit 2 of the 5 UB areas for a total of 4 of the 5 UB areas across the 2 pathways. So, for example, and UB areas are arts, civilization and history, humanities, languages, and social science. So we're going to ask you to take Social 101 as part of your prereqs. This is also going to satisfy your diversity requirement, and it's a social science. Under List 2, you can pick PHI 237, which is a humanities, and then under List 3, NSG 250, which we're also going to ask you to take. And this satisfies your 3rd UB area. So select these courses, and you can see I've got 3 classes, an S, an H, and NSG 250. For global pathways, there's a couple options. I'm going to look this time at Milestones. So if you don't want to do an international experience and you're not going to do language, you can just click Global Reflections, and it's only going to pull up the courses offered here at UB. So for Milestones, you can see I've actually selected some classes. Music 115, which is an A for arts. And then I am going to pick APY 106 because this is going to satisfy my C for history. And then I can pick NSG 393, which I would take in the upper division. If I was not accepted to the program, then I would need to pick one of these classes. So you might want to just take a look if you're thinking about this pathway and think, okay, what else might I take if I don't get into the program. You also, if you have any transfer classes, there's going to end up being a little diamond here, and it's going to say additional courses that I have, and you can click on that, and it's going to show you if you're transferring in arts, or if you're transferring in a history, or maybe you actually took a course that is the equivalent of Social 101 or Psych 101, something like that. Okay, again, select these courses, and now you can see I've got 6 classes: S, H, UB course, A, C, UB course. And then you're going to go up here and you're going to click Save to Hub. I'm not able to register for Pathways classes, so mine is showing that I can't, but if you log in, you'll be able to click Save to Hub. What you're doing here, you're not registering for classes. What you're doing is you're letting the University of Buffalo know that these are the courses that you are planning on taking and that you want to be used for graduation requirements. So when you go to graduate, they're going to know which classes they should be looking for. So you always have to make sure that you save to Hub. If you make any changes, you're going to want to save to Hub also. If you have any questions about the pathways after you listen to this and you look at the sheet, definitely talk to an advisor. We are going to insist that you make an attempt to select some pathways before we talk to you when we are unable to choose these courses for you. So take a look, select some courses, and then we'll be happy to look at your choices with you. So hopefully this was helpful, and we will be happy to meet with you now about any questions you may have. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.